Dusty Baker, we talked about, him and Abreu being lightning rods along with Martin Maldonado. Dusty Baker is always a topic of conversation during the regular season and the moves. Now, when we get into the postseason, seems to be it's more about the performance of the guys, and we're not seeing all those weird, quirky lineup choices. But, we're looking at Dusty as a manager reaching his fourth straight ALCS with this team. Now, granted, this team was going to ALCSs before he got here. They'd been to 3 prior, but it's not just a given. We see what the Dodgers have done or not done. We've seen the Braves. It's not a given that you just have a great team and you get your ticket punched to the League Championship Series every season. So it does take a certain amount of managerial expertise to get there, and kind of the managing of personalities and talent. They've appeared in 2 World Series under his guidance. Won one of them, same as AJ Hinch. I mean, AJ is the only other candidate for this question, but there's a lot of people are asking now. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Is Dusty Baker the best manager the Astros have ever seen?
I don't think so in terms of if you're going to get into tactics and lineup construction and so forth. But in a results-oriented business, who has his resume? If the Astros go back to another World Series, if they go back-to-back, become the first consecutive champion since the Yankees won 3 in a row, approaching a quarter century ago now. But if we go back in Astros history to Bill Verdon, Hal Lanier, maybe Larry Dierker, and they got to manage these rosters in recent years, who's to say they would not have had the exact same level of success, or maybe even more? In A.J. Hinch's case, would any of them have gone to Garrett Cole instead of Will Harris? In the end, though, the record books, the stat lines, the one-loss marks, Dusty has exactly 0 to apologize for. But, if you take the generation of Bagwell and Biggio and that 98 team, Moises Alou and Derek Bell, if those guys had hit, would that have meant Larry Dierker was a better manager? Or he didn't have guys like Altuve and Alvarez, and then someone else who always seems to get you. So far this year, it's Abreu. Last year, you had Gurriel in the mix, and other names we can throw, like Brantley that we've included. Bregman's a .235 career hitter in the postseason. .235, but he's had his share of huge hits. So Dusty, like A.J. Hinch immediately before him, I think the prime beneficiary of the talent that they've had to manage, but there's a hell of a lot to be said for not screwing it up.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go with Dusty when it comes to just the stats, the results. You can't argue with those. You don't know what somebody else would have done with the team. It's all speculation. And I would like to give Dusty credit for the Urquidy move. For him, he mentioned in the post-game interviews after the finale of the Twins game, he said that he saw Urquidy back in the World Series when the Astros were playing the Nationals, and he was impressed by him just watching him on TV, and he kept that in the back of his mind. And then you see him use him in Arizona, and then you see him use him again in this Twin series. He loves that experience. He feels like Urquidy was a big game pitcher. Looks like he was right. So way to go, Dusty. You made the right call there.
But I'm not a karma guy. He wasn't going with Urquidy in Arizona, right? If JP France doesn't have the family situation. So good fortune or serendipity along with player performance combined to give you a shot at greatness. And here is where the Astros are. I X'd, still sounds weird to say that. If you have a college basketball team you root for, imagine that team going to 7 consecutive Final Fours. But that's what the Astros have now done, Major League Baseball version. 7 consecutive league championship series. And if they go on to make it 5 World Series within 7 years, win a 3rd World Series within 7 years. We're talking very rare air among the great stretches of teams in the history of Major League Baseball.
And I think outside of just the managing the X's and O's, I mean, yes, he trusted in Abreu and that's paid off for him. Yes, he's trusted in Maldi and that seemingly has also paid off for him. I think I have to step back a little bit too when we're making this judgment about where where he rates amongst the all-time managers. His value to the organization, stepping into this role after the cheating scandal, after one of the biggest scandals in this league's history, he steps in to become the face of an organization that was much maligned. And the league and the fans had every reason to hate this team. But then what did you hear people say? Well, I'm kind of rooting for Dusty. I'm rooting for Dusty. That aspect alone has been invaluable to this organization. And tip of the hat also to Jim Crane, who understood what that dynamic meant to this team as well. But I think given the circumstances, and I think the results obviously speak for themselves, and the report card is the report card. It looks great. But I think in addition to that, it's the intangible part of what he has meant in being the face of this organization. I do think that is where it does set him apart as being, the best manager this team has had. Again, like we'll put all the tactical stuff aside, just from the standpoint of what he has done, what he's meant, and I think just how players speak of him. And the chemistry that he brings that locker room. He is a calming force, and I think they have definitely benefited from that, and the results are pretty evident.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Concur.
Hey guys, we'll get back to the podcast in just 1 second. I just wanted to quickly invite you to join Sports Map and our friends at Culture Map on October 25th for the Tailgate. It's an all-out celebration of Houston sports and you, its fans. There's going to be tailgate-inspired food from some great restaurants like FM Kitchen, Twin Peaks, Waffle Bus, many more. There's going to be some signature drinks, some great fun game day activities, plus the VIP ticket holders can meet and greet with former Houston Texan Jonathan Joseph. Tickets are on sale now and include all the food and drinks. So use promo code SportsMap and you can get $10 off those ticket types. Head to tailgate.culturemap.com or click on the card on the screen right now to get your tickets today. Another episode for Stone Cold Stros in the books. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to give us a 5-star rating. Charlie, Josh, and I will catch you next week. I don't know when next week. We'll have to figure that out. But if to see more content, just make sure you're subscribing to Sports Map Houston on YouTube. Make sure you're also subscribed to Sports Map Texans on YouTube as well, where the three of us host a weekly Texans-centric podcast. We'll be doing that on Monday as well. And then thanks to Jack Brame for producing as always. And thanks to everyone for listening. And until next time, go Stros!